Okay, now I'm going to show you how you can automate your LinkedIn outreach process. There's a lot of different tools out there that you can use to automate your LinkedIn marketing campaigns, but the one that I like the most is called Expandy. Absolutely great tool. It's been my favorite over all the other ones I've used, and also it's only $99 a month per LinkedIn account. You can even have multiple accounts on it if you have more than one. But this is the best one I can recommend, and if you're currently already doing LinkedIn outreach and you're using a different tool, that's totally okay. You don't have to use this. If you're comfortable with another software, then totally fine. But either way, I'm going to show you how I like to use Expandy. So this is the website. It's called expandy.io. You can even sign up for a free trial to check it out. And once you're in, this is what it would look like. You'd have a dashboard where you can actually build and manage your campaigns. And the way that it works is you still go to LinkedIn to build your list of prospects, but then you would take that link and actually put it into Expandy and then create a campaign to target those people. So I'll show you exactly how it works step by step. What you would do is you would sign into Expandy. If you're just doing this for the first time, go to profile settings and make sure a few things are all set. If it's a new account, a new LinkedIn account, then you should leave account warm up on for 2 weeks or so. And here you have your interaction settings. So remember earlier we talked about the rules to LinkedIn? This is where you would actually set your max amount of connection requests per day and max amount of messages per day. This should be 30 maximum, but when you're starting out, keep it more like 10 to 20, and then gradually build it up to 30 a day. You can also even choose which days or times you want to send out messages. I like to just keep it Monday through Friday. That way the replies come in Monday through Friday when me or my team is actually looking at this stuff and can reply to those people. And those are really the only two things you need to look at when you actually set up your account. There's a bunch of other things in here you could flip through, but ultimately just for getting started, just focus on those two. Now, when you go to your dashboard, you can actually see all of your campaigns and all the stats for them. So this is really cool because you can see all the analytics and all the data, how many messages were sent out, how many got replies, and all of those things. But if you're just getting started with this should be empty because you wouldn't have any campaigns up already. Now, building a campaign is actually really simple. So first, what you want to do is you want to already have your LinkedIn Sales Navigator list built. So assuming that you've already built a list of prospects, you would go into LinkedIn, you would go to Sales Navigator, you would go to Lead Lists. Now, if you remember earlier in the course, I built an example lead list, and then you would go to Saved Searches. And here was the example list I built earlier in the course. Just click on it, and then wait for it to load for a minute, and then copy the URL, because that's what you put into Expandy. Now, to import this list into Expandy, go to Search. This is basically where you put your audiences. Here you would see all the audiences that you've put in the past, and then click Add New Search. Then click Sales Navigator Search. And title it whatever you have it titled in LinkedIn so you can keep organized. This was titled, let's see what we call this one, Marketing Agency, 1 to 10 employees, US. So call it the same thing so that you don't lose your hair later trying to remember which list is which. And here it'll just ask you to put in that URL. So you just type that in there. Click Auto Reload every 7 days. What that means is every 7 days, it'll add new prospects into that list. And then here you can click Automatically Add Search Results to Campaign. Now, if you've already built a campaign, your campaign would show up here. But here we just actually went to the search list first, so there's no campaign to put there. So if that's the case, just leave it blank. You can go edit it later. And then click Search, and then it's going to take some time. It might take up to 24 hours for it to populate the list. So while that's loading, you go into Campaign, and this is where you actually build a campaign, which is where you actually put in the messaging. So by now, you should already have a Google Doc with your sequence and your list of templates for what you want to send out to these prospects. So this is where you actually put everything together. So first you would add a campaign, and there's actually a lot of different campaigns you could run, but the most important one and the one that I want to show you today is the connector campaign. This is really all you need to use, but feel free to explore some of the other types of campaigns as well. And now call it the same thing that you call the list. So Marketing 1 to 10 US. So give a name to the campaign. Here it would ask you if you have any saved templates. But if you haven't created that yet, then you don't need it. You can just create without templates and add it in manually. So now it was created. I'm just going to refresh my page, give it a minute to show up. Okay, so now we'll see the campaign I just created here. You'll see that it's on inactive. So we're going to set it up first and then set it to active. So you click on the campaign. When you want to add your messaging, you go to Steps. So this is when you're actually building your sequence. So basically, Expandy can do the same thing that you would do if you were messaging these people yourself. And the way that it'll work is it'll only send out messages until somebody replies. So if somebody replies to your message and says, hey, I'm interested, here, I have a question for you, or whatever, then Expandy will stop messaging them. That way, you take over. and book them into a call yourself. So yeah, you wouldn't want to have a tool that could have like a full-on conversation with somebody, because then it would probably not work out very well. So you just want to automate it so that it sends out the messages to save you that time, but then take over yourself once somebody actually replies and gets a conversation started. So here's where you would put your connection message. So again, you would have already written that by this point. So I'm just going to write an example here. Hey, would be awesome to my LinkedIn. And you can actually select variables here, like their first name, their last name, their job title, even their company name. That way LinkedIn will actually pull their first name and put it in there for you. And then here, when it says alternative body at the bottom, what that means is, some accounts might not allow a longer message. So just take whatever your normal connection message is and make a shorter version of it that's only 115 characters, just in case that happens. But this is just the connection request message. Now, if you want to automate the rest of the process, like sending a first message and then maybe a few follow-ups like in your sequence, you just click follow-up message here at the bottom. You choose the time delay. Remember, it should always be at least 3 to 4 days out. You don't want to message someone every day, because it'll just really bother them and it'll be kind of too much. Odds are if they haven't replied to your message in a day or two, they just probably haven't logged on to LinkedIn to read their messages yet. So you can add in your first message. This would be sent to them after they connect. You can add a follow-up as here as well. And then you can keep doing that. And you can add as many as you want, but like I recommended earlier in the course, keep it like 4 messages max. You don't want to send too much to people. And always keep it at least 3 or 4 days apart. This is where you would take your outreach templates that you wrote on your Google Doc and just copy that straight into here. And again, you can customize it with their first name, their last name, their company name, or their job title, anywhere you want. You would just put in the variable, like company name, and it would be right there. So it could be like, hey, looks like you're doing some interesting work at company name, and it would actually just pull it from their profile right there. Once you click apply, that basically saves it. Then you can go over to settings and then also set the, the maximum number of new people a day to be contacted. And when you're ready to start it, you would just go right here and turn this to active. And then it would be all good. Now, people is where you would actually add the list. But since we already added it, we don't have to do anything right here. What we can do is we can go back to search where we added the list before, because it should be populated by now. And this is the list that we added before. Even though it's not done retrieving all the profiles, it's okay. We can still link it to the campaign. So you go to the list that you uploaded, you click to open settings. And here you can actually choose the campaign that you just built. So here it is. And then the rest is history. It's all done from here. Expandy will automatically add contacts from this list into your campaign and send out those messages every 4 days or whatever you set it to. And if you really want as well, once the campaign is live, you can actually respond from Expandy. So you don't even have to go to your LinkedIn. You can just go into your inbox here in Expandy and it'll import the messages. So whatever replies you got, you can actually see it in Expandy. You can change this filter to unread chats only, and it'll show you all the people that have responded to you that you haven't read yet. And that's pretty much it. Again, go back to your dashboard and it'll show you the stats on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. And this is where you can even analyze the campaigns at a higher level. And yes, you can also have more than one campaign running at a time. Let's say that you wanted to test out 2 different audiences at once. You can do that, but just make sure that the volume is lower on each so that you're not exceeding the 30-a-day limit. And if you have other profiles or maybe other members of your team are also automating their LinkedIn, you would just add new LinkedIn accounts here at the top. And you can just link them up here and then switch over to each one depending on which one you want to look at. One other helpful resource is the Expandy Academy. So Expandy has basically kind of a free course that shows you how to do all the advanced stuff with it. Honestly, everything I just showed you is all you really need to do, and that's all that we do. But it is a pretty cool software. There's some other cool tricks you can do with it, some really advanced things you could try out if you want, and they're always updating it. So if you go to expandy.io/academy, then you can sign up for their free course, and anytime they add new features, they just add lessons here in their course. So pretty cool as well if you want to dive deeper, but honestly, at the beginning, just keep it simple and just do what I showed you. Just build their connector campaign and you should be good to go. Also, you don't have to actually automate the whole connection request. So if you would like to maybe use automation here, but still have the ability to personalize your messages, you can do something halfway. So you can build a connector campaign like I just showed you. And instead of actually, adding all the follow-up messages, you could just automate the connection requests. So basically, if you wanted to still have the ability to personalize your messages, when you go to steps, you could just leave the only step as this first message. This is the connection request. So basically you could have Expandy only automate the connection request and adding people to your network, and then you can leave it at that, not add further steps, and then go in yourself to actually send them a personalized message after they've accepted your friend request. So that's a nice way you could actually use Expandy to save you some time and automate part of the process, but still take over yourself early on and have the ability to send a more personalized, tailored message. All right, so that's it for Expandy. I hope that's helpful. Definitely dive into this. It's a great tool, and I'll see you in the next lesson.